And welcome into the MLB Hot Stove Daily here at the Upside Sports Network. My name is Michael. Appreciate you guys spending some time with us on a Thursday evening. Lots to get into around Major League Baseball, including an improbable win by the New York Yankees after being no-hit through 7 innings by Brian Wu. The Yankees entered the 8th inning down by 5 runs. First time a team has come back from a deficit of 5 runs or more and being no-hit through 7 innings since 1977. What a great win by the Yankees. A walk-off in extras by Aaron Judge. Who else? Just a great win by the Yankees. And honestly, I mean, what other team is going to do this at this point? The Yankees just seem to have storybook finish after storybook finish, and today no different out there once again. Sarah, hey everyone, what a win by the by AL Yankees, and my Cardinals getting to 50 wins. Love it. Michael's hell of a job tonight. Yes, the Yankees game was incredible. We'll check in on the Cardinals scoreboard. Rangers again bludgeoning the LA Angels. Can their pitching actually hold the lead this time? We shall see. Currently leading 9-0 out there in LA. But be sure to hit that like and subscribe, and make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. It goes a long way to helping out our channel, and interact with the channel. Say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. We're going to get into a ton of trade talk today. We postponed our power rankings from last night. We will do that on Sunday. We'll also go through the MLB draft, which is going to be on Sunday, and all the latest from the trade deadline, all the latest rumors, everything. We're going to have a big show for you guys on Sunday evening, so be sure to join us for that one as well. We'll be live probably around 6, 7 o'clock in the evening while the draft is going on, so be sure to join us for that. You're not going to want to miss all of the activity that evening. So let's get into a couple of the headlines for today. We got Alex Bregman coming back for the Red Sox, likely tomorrow. Bryce Matthews getting a call up from the Houston Astros. Two big additions to clubs that are looking to vie for their supremacy in the American League. I think the Astros have really outperformed everybody's expectation this year, even without Yordan Alvarez. The pitching has been injured, but yet they still somehow seem to find great pitching performances out of guys you might not expect it to come from. And once again, the Astros are on top of a very competitive spot anyway in the AL West. Mariners dropped out of the playoff spot today with the virtue of that loss, and the Red Sox win. Their win streak now has reached 7 games. Good on them. We kind of saw this coming with the stretch of games they were going to have before the All-Star break. We told you guys to expect a nice win streak here leading into the All-Star break for the Red Sox. And now with Bregman coming back, you have to feel very positive about their chances to compete in October. However, to me, their season fully resides in what's going to happen over the next 3 weeks after the deadline. They have 3 tough series coming up. That will make or break their season. They'll decide whether or not they want to add at the deadline, stand pat, or if they don't get extensions done with a couple of their guys that are going to be free agents at the end of the year, they could revisit the idea of trading or at least retooling here at the deadline. All of those options are still on the table, even with their incredible record as of late. Now, Bryce Matthews helping out this Houston Astros team, very young player that they're bringing up here, but they still need more offense. This is a team that's without Yordan Alvarez for basically the last couple of months here. They're not expected to get him back before the trade deadline, and they're just looking for any and all offense they can get right now. Their pitching has been, like I said, kind of the stalwart there for them, but they're still looking for any juice that they can get right now in the middle of the year, and it's not like Bryce Matthews didn't earn it either. He's been very good for the Astros in the minors, and it's good to see him at least get his feet wet at the major league level. We did actually see a trade. I think it was late last night or early this morning. I think it was late last night, where the number 37 pick in the MLB draft, compensation round A pick, goes from the Tampa Bay Rays. Yes, they're giving up a compensation pick to the Baltimore Orioles in exchange for Brian Baker. And guess who took the loss in that Boston Red Sox versus Tampa Bay Rays game? It was Brian Baker. I thought they should have let him get settled a little bit more there. Obviously, they made the trade to help out their bullpen there, but I thought they should have allowed him at least one game to kind of settle in here. And unfortunately, it just didn't go well. In one game so far, one inning of work anyway for the Tampa Bay Rays, his ERA is 27. Tells you he wasn't really ready to go today, and the trade itself, getting everything set up to play for his new team. Just give the guy a day. There was no need to put him out there in that situation. Now, sure, you may have said, hey, he's the best guy to handle this type of situation. This is the type of situation we traded him or acquired him for. That may all be the case. But here's the thing. We are all still human. He literally just got to town. How about you let the guy unpack his bags first? We hear all the time about the stories of minor leaguers getting called up to the majors and arriving in the third or fourth inning, going down to the bullpen and being asked to kind of do some long relief in a game that's a blowout. We see guys kind of come in, position players late in games as defensive replacements. Very rarely do you see them come in high impact, game on the line situations, and that's exactly what happened. The Rays had that game in hand, and then 2 runs given up, or I believe 3 runs given up by Baker, and ballooning his ERA. I thought the Rays really did a disservice for Brian Baker. Really feel awful for the guy. I mean, he just gets to town and thrust into that situation and just asked to do too much, honestly. If they had asked him to do this tomorrow, I think he'd be much more prepared and ready for the situation. Just let the guy breathe and get used to get used to life anyway, being a member of the Tampa Bay Rays. There was no need to run him out there. It's not like you didn't have other relievers in the bullpen that you could have gone to. They could have easily done that, and instead they chose to go ahead and bring in the guy they literally just traded for less than 24 hours prior in a game on the line situation. Didn't go well, cost the Rays the game. Darn right it should have as well, because they shouldn't have done it to him in the first place. So those are kind of your headlines right now from around Major League Baseball. Not all trades are going to work out swimmingly right off the bat. I do think Baker will be an improvement for that Rays bullpen, they were looking for reinforcements back there, but a really tough start. And now he's got the rest of the fan base going, hey, why did we trade the number 37 pick in this draft for a guy that gives up 3 runs in his first outing with us? What are we doing here? Now he's never going to be able to settle in with that type of performance there. And not saying he's going to be a fan favorite or, to carry this team into the postseason, but now he's just off on the wrong foot with every single member of that organization from the top down. Hey, we just traded the 37 pick. Why are you trading the 37 pick and paying this guy right now, as I'm the owner here? Why am I making this trade and acquiring him right now and I just see what on the field? I'm the GM. I just traded for you. Why are you performing this poorly? Obviously, maybe I missed something in the evaluation process. I'm the manager. I just got this great asset from my GM, brought me a bullpen arm. I asked him for a bullpen arm. I get him. I misuse him. And now I'm just, do I trust him in that situation again so soon after struggling in that spot? Or do I go with other guys who have had similar issues? The reason why the Rays need help there as well. So just, didn't mean to spend so much time on this Baker thing, but I just think the Rays could have done so much better here. They're supposed to be the ones that are about ruthless efficiency, the platooning, all of those kinds of things. And, at some point you also have to understand the human element here, and I think they really missed the boat on that one. Welcome in, Joshua. Yankees sweep the game to Mariners. Sweep the game to Mariners. I think you mean walk off the game to the Mariners, where Brian Wu had pitched 7 no-hit innings, and then they still came back and won it. Yes, they did. Congratulations to the Yankees faithful out there. I know you guys are enjoying that another Yankees walk-off victory with Aaron Judge carrying the lumber once again for the Yanks there. All right, let's get into some trade talk, because I know that's what everybody's here for tonight. So let's go ahead and get into it. We'll start anyway with where the standings are at going, as of right now anyway. Tigers, Astros, Blue Jays, of course, your division leaders. Wild card, this is where we actually had some change. The Red Sox, after their victory and the loss by the Mariners, basically changes things around. 7-game win streak now for the Red Sox. Great on them for doing so. Pitching still could be a little bit better, but their offense certainly is going to get a nice boost with the return of Alex Bregman. The Red Sox, if they come out of the break hot, this could be a team that really solidifies itself in the top 2 of the wild card spots. Looking at the Tampa Bay Rays, the Red Sox could even overtake the Rays with another victory tomorrow against them. So we'll have to see. It's going to be in Boston, so I do expect the Rays to put up at least some form of a fight. But after coughing this one up, I think the Red Sox are probably going to steamroll them in Game 2 of that series there. Mariners fall out of the wild card spot there, and ultimately their pitching performances have been pretty good so far this year. They could be a little bit better. They have had some injury issues at times this season, but their offense has been much better than expected. It's starting to come back to earth here a little bit. That's why you see 416 versus 405. Run differential of only 11 tells you they're right around 500, which is exactly where they should be. And this is a team that's still got a good chance to win this year and is expected to buy at the deadline. Cal Raleigh has been adamant about them buying at deadlines past. We'll see if they go for a big addition here or if they go for, the typical, rental options, players of that ilk. Ryan O'Hearn is seemingly the most common name associated with the Seattle Mariners, but we'll see what ultimately happens there. Cobra, welcome in. Osuna to the Padres. Marcell Osuna from the Braves. He's had a rough couple of weeks, rough month, honestly, from the plate. Honestly, I'd be surprised if the Padres did that. They're very cash poor right now. They're looking to offload some salary, not take some on. If they find a way to offload some salary or get the Braves to eat the entirety of that deal, I think a trade like that could help them. But the Padres are not looking to necessarily throw the towel in this season. They're looking to compete. They might retool around the edges here. They might move some salary out, bring in some controllable contracts in. That could be something we see the Padres do, but I do think they'll be doing some buying here at the deadline of some sort. The Royals have had a nice stretch of games here, winners of 4 straight. They've crawled themselves back to the 3.5 games back in the wild card spot there. They're facing the Mets anyway this weekend. Curious to see what happens here with the Royals if they decide to stick it out with what their rotation looks like, or if they decide to sell here at the deadline, including guys like Seth Lugo. Michael Lorenzen could be a nice piece for somebody, but those are some names from the Royals I'm keeping an eye on there. Twins. They kind of, again, have their ups and downs this season. They're a little bit streaky of a team. Right now, they're kind of a middling roster right now, 45 and 48. A lot of news around Joe Ryan in the last 48 hours. The trade possibilities of possibly going to the Boston Red Sox or any number of other contenders looking for an emerging ace from the Twins. You also get the Joe Ryan going to the All-Star Game news as well. Very newsy last 48 hours anyway for the Twins. Rangers just can't get out of their own way on the pitching side, it seems like this weekend or over the last couple of weeks, coughing up games late. That's why it seems like they're going to be going after a premium arm at the back end of their bullpen, elite closer. That's kind of my shopping list for the Rangers. I know their offense has been terrible this year, but if you look over the last 3 weeks, the offense has not been the problem. It's been the ninth inning really for the Texas Rangers and into extras, and they've really had issues closing those kinds of things down. Middle relief has been really strong for them this year. They boast one of the top 3 pitching staffs, including the rough outing they had yesterday. But even with those numbers, they're still a top 3 pitching staff this season, and I'm curious to see what their decision is on Kumar Rocker as they go into the trade deadline season. Do they put him down in AAA once John Gray comes up and let him take his spot? Tyler Mahle's going to be coming back. He's going to need a spot in the rotation. Some interesting news coming forward there as well. Sarah, Cardinals are looking at Merrill Kelly. I would like that. We did actually do some mock trades, including Merrill Kelly, to the St. Louis Cardinals. If you guys missed that one, I invite you guys to check it out. But we will do some more there as well this evening. But I think Kelly would be a great option number 1 or ace type starter for them to kind of help them out in the postseason or stretch run here for the Cardinals. And then I think he would be a guy that they could sign to a medium-sized contract. He's mid-30s as far as age. He'd probably get in for a 2-3 year deal in free agency, and we'll see if the Cardinals go that route here at the deadline. Joshua, Alex Bregman to the Yankees for third base. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Red Sox are trying to push towards the postseason. If for some reason, say they stumble out of the gate and go 0-8 or something like that, 1-9, somewhere around that, I think we could see the Red Sox stand pat at the deadline rather than trying to add here at the deadline. They've been connected with several different options, especially on the pitching side, including Joe Ryan that we just referenced anyway. But to the Yankees, they're not helping out their division rival in this type of a trade. If they were far enough back, say they were 8 games back of the wild card, right around the area of the Baltimore Orioles, then they might reconsider that kind of a thing, especially since he's on an expiring deal. If they could get the top pieces out of New York, hey, maybe, if they're offering the biggest price. But I don't think he's going anywhere near New York, even if Bregman is put on the block. I think you're more likely looking for teams looking for a third baseman. Texas Rangers are looking for an upgrade there. There's a few other teams that are looking for a utility type of a player. The Chicago Cubs come to mind. They were interested in his services. The Detroit Tigers come to mind as well. I love Eugenio Suarez to the Yankees. I think that's kind of where everybody's looking right now because it seems like Aaron Judge is quietly pushing that narrative of Eugenio Suarez to the New York Yankees with Jazz Chisholm going over to second. It really opens up third base full-time there. And Eugenio Suarez is having a great year. I think he's at 29 home runs now. I think he'd be another great power bat in the middle of a great power lineup that the New York Yankees have. Cease for Durant, a good trade? No, Durant has way more value than that. I think you're probably looking Cease plus if you go for that deal. Now, if you get an extension done with, for Cease, then that might add some extra value because now you have more control over Cease. But I do agree, Eugenio Suarez to the Yankees is probably the most likely option there. In fact, let's go ahead and do a trade here. Well, that'll be our first one of the day. What could we do? Alan, welcome in. What should the Tigers do? I would try to add a veteran to that bullpen. I'd add a veteran to that bench as well, and just kind of see if they can kind of settle down the young guys there as they go through their first ever, real pennant race, real chance to win this year in the AL. I think they need to get some guys that have some skins on the wall. Not necessarily to say that the Tigers won't be able to handle the situation, but just having that veteran presence there to kind of keep everybody pushing the right direction and not letting the moment get too big for them. I think it'd be really important message for the Tigers to go for at this year's deadline. But let's look at the Yankees and the Diamondbacks for Eugenio Suarez. What would it take to bring him in? Remember, the Yankees are just now eating the $22 million this year and next, combined anyway, of $22 million for DJ LeMahieu. So if you're the Diamondbacks, remember, you're looking to still stay competitive this year. So Suarez is at 5.5. He's got 6.2 left on his salary. If you get, say, $3 million that you eat and send to the Yankees, makes it more palatable for their taxes, all those kinds of things, and now it boosts the return that you get for Suarez as well. And it's only costing you $3 million. So if you include a piece that you can easily throw over there at third base right now, I'd say let's see here. Majors. So you put Cabrera there. I think you could probably handle third base in a pinch. Or Peraza you could put in this deal. Let's say instead of Cabrera you do Peraza. We've seen weirder things. Now, again, you're going to be looking for a nice return for eating that money. You're looking for a reason to make this deal, to stay competitive. You're not going to get a Ben Rice. You're not getting Luis Gil. Cam Schlitter, maybe. Let's go to the minor side of things here. Hampton, Hess could be a nice one. I'm going to go with Lane, I believe. Good starter option. Only 20 years old. You already have Moreno there as a catcher, but an 18-year-old catcher, Moreno might not be on the team at that time when he finally gets to the big leagues. That could be one spot that you go to. I think you go down towards kind of the smaller value end here. You go and get an 18-year-old starter to kind of help refresh your farm system. Anybody else on the young side here? Peralta, the 16-year-old shortstop, pure lottery ticket. Gets you to 9.5. I think I would do that if I'm the Yankees. If I'm the Diamondbacks, Peraza, I think, could handle third in a pinch. You have other pieces that you can utilize in those spots. And you get 3 starting pitchers or 2 starting pitchers and a shortstop that you can develop on. You're going to have a lot of changeover in that starting rotation. Couple of young guys here, maybe could be something in a year or two. Sign a short-term option in the offseason. Let's validate it and post it. Heel, welcome in, welcome in. What team do you think should be aggressive this deadline and have the mindset that if we make it, we can legit win the whole thing? There's a lot of teams that kind of fit that description. On the American League side, because it's wide open, you could make that argument for the Tigers, the Astros. If you get the right ace and the rest of the league doesn't really add much, I think the Blue Jays could have a conversation in that light. Yankees obviously feel they're, even without Garrett Cole, they could be in that conversation. I don't think you could say that about the Rays. Red Sox before the season, I think we could have probably said that. With the Devers trade now, I just don't really like their chances to necessarily win the whole thing. But, puncher's chance, I suppose, but I still think the Red Sox have a very good chance to get to the World Series because of how wide open the AL is. Mariners with that pitching staff, I think, can do pretty much anything they want in the regular season. October, different animal, especially with their offense being so hot and cold anyway at times. 3-game losing streak, their offense coming back down to earth here, pitching not quite as good as expected, but still pretty darn good. All kinds of prospect capital. I think they're a team that's ready to pounce on any big trade possibility that could be out there. If there's a guy that's cost controlled for say 3-4 years, we posted a trade last night anyway during our 4-hour live about the idea if the Rangers decided to trade a Wyatt Langford to kind of get multiple assets to help them in this championship window that they view, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 as that championship window here. Wyatt Langford's contract obviously goes past that, and if they sign him to a long-term deal, obviously would go much further beyond that. But he's hitting 236, 237 right now. He's looking a little bit better since he's come back from injury, don't get me wrong. But if they wanted to get creative and add, say, an Olsen, a Riley from the Braves, and maybe another piece, they could really kind of add, big, tighten pieces here at the deadline that make them a prohibitive favorite on the AL side. They could go to Minnesota, get a Joe Ryan, bring in a Carlos Correa, eat the money on that one, send out Jock Peterson. Again, check out those videos if you want, or check out that video from yesterday that kind of explains the whole Wyatt Langford trade idea in depth there. But there's a lot of interesting avenues the Rangers could go about adding here at the deadline that they could make a case that because their pitching staff, adding a little bit here or there in the offensive side, and then adding an elite closer, really could make them a favorite on the AL side to get to the World Series to win it. I'm not sure that they could get quite that far without moving a piece like Wyatt, adding big dynamic pieces, aircraft carrier types like an Olsen or a Riley. But I think they're going to be right there on the AL side to get to the World Series. I think the Dodgers will be the prohibitive favorite in whatever series they're in, though. Other teams, on the AL side, I don't think the Twins could make that argument. Angels, no. Royals, no. On the NL side, Dodgers, absolutely. Cubs need an ace. If they add one, they could make that argument. Phillies, I think they need to add a significant piece at the back end of their bullpen. They are said to be shopping expensively at this year's deadline, basically looking for an elite option as far as a closer, kind of in that same boat with the Texas Rangers, which could drive up the prices even higher. Milwaukee, I think, could make an argument that'd be a strong case to make the postseason to win the series. I don't think there's a move out there for them. Mets, they need an ace. If they get one, I think they could be in that conversation. Giants, I think, are a year away. Padres don't look like they have enough, even if they did make the trades. Cardinals, I think, could get in the postseason, maybe make it past a round or two, but they ain't getting any further. Reds might get into the postseason, maybe even win a round, but after that, I think they fizzle out. Diamondbacks, their pitching has been not very good this year. That was expected to be a strong point of their team, and ultimately it has not proven to be that way. And so I don't view them as a contender for a title this year. Nice trade for either team. Absolutely, it's kind of what I thought as well. J.J. Weatherhill is killing it for AAA for the Cardinals. That could be a name that's on the Cardinals roster for the end of the season as they try to see what is going to be working for them for their long-term future. The Cardinals this year was expected to be kind of a, figure out what they have as far as assets, what pieces they need to stick around, and what pieces they need to move on from, and then add in free agency after the year, after they make their decisions with the pieces that they currently have. If they decide to add here at the deadline, that signals to me that they're changing course on what this season was all about. I would stand pat with what they got right now and move on from a Helsley, move on from an Arenado, clean up my salaries and everything, and then go into free agency after this year with a clear idea of who's going to be long-term assets for us going forward, and then figure out things after that. He'll call me crazy, but I think if the Orioles are willing to buy aggressively, they can sneak into a wild card, and I'm talking about a trade, Kobe Mayo type, be aggressive. I think they could, just because of how wide open the AL is and how well they've been playing ever since they changed managers, honestly. 7-3 in their last 10. 8 games under 500, though. That's going to be hard to overcome. And look how many teams they have to pass. I think they could easily pass the Guardians. If Texas doesn't keep hitting or their bullpen continues to falter like it has the past week anyway, they could be a team they pass by. Let's see here. Angels, Twins, I think those two will be easily passed. Royals, I don't have any faith in. I think they could pass them. But then you get to teams like the Mariners, the Red Sox. I think those two they're not going to be able to pass. The Rays could be a team they get past, but I don't really see it as a likely option. So to me, I think if best case scenario, they probably get right on the edge of making it, which is why I'll hold on to their long-term assets. Anything that's not nailed down past this year, I'd expect them to try to move on from and recoup some value and see what they go into free agency and try to address their starting rotation first for me. And then, of course, the health of Adley Rutschman and all their other young stars. That's going to be paramount for them going forward. Let's check in on some of the scores from around Major League Baseball. Rangers still winning 9-0 against the Angels. Corbin on the mound against Trout. And then it looks like the Braves 4-3 currently in the top of the 8th over the A's. Diamondbacks 2, Padres 3 in the bottom of the 5th. Cubs win early today 8-1 over the Twins. Marlins shutout versus the Reds 6-0. We talked about the walk-off for the New York Yankees and Aaron Judge, 6-5 winners at home over the Mariners. We talked a little bit about the Rays and Red Sox as well, how they kind of did reliever Brian Baker dirty the way they used used him in their bullpen today. Cardinals 8-1 winners over the Nationals. You mentioned Michaelis was good today. Only 1 hit through 6, you said. That's pretty dang good. Soroka the loss. Had doubleheader for the Mets and Orioles today. Mets lose both of those games. 3-1 winners over the Mets in the first one, 7-3 in the second one. And then the White Sox and Guardians game was postponed. And it will be made up, it looks like, tomorrow, so doubleheader to tomorrow there. Heel, do you see the upcoming series against the Astros as a make or break for the Rangers? To a certain extent. If they get swept, I think it could be a break kind of a thing for them, but I don't think they will be. They play the Astros very well. I think there's a good chance they go 1-2 or a 2-1. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that they could sweep the Astros in Houston. But I think for Texas, they're going to be aggressive at the deadline. Even if they go into this deadline, say, 5-6 games out of the final wild card spot, I think they still could be in a spot where they buy because of how competitive Bochy and Young are. They're not completely out of it. And so that's kind of why I see the Rangers making their decision during the trade or during the All-Star break and then adding shortly thereafter. I don't think this will be a team that waits until the very last day to make an addition. The other option is here for the Texas Rangers is just to stand pat. They don't really need to make a move offensively with the pieces that are starting to hit for them. Would obviously be helpful, but to me they still need to make an elite closer trade first and foremost. When will be the first trade? Well, we just saw it already in Brian Baker getting traded from the Baltimore Orioles to the Tampa Bay Rays for the number 37 pick in the draft. He ended up costing the Rays the game today against the Red Sox, but it's not necessarily his fault in my mind. I thought the manager, the team itself, should have looked out for the player there a little bit better and not pushed him in a situation where he's literally just saying, hi, nice to meet you. Hey, by the way, go save our skin out there. And he ends up not being prepared to pitch in my mind. I think there was probably too much going on upstairs for him and wasn't able to shut out the noise and cost him here. I believe he gave up 2 hits, 3 runs, basically cost the Rays the game in that one, and I think they should have done him better. There are other arms in the bullpen that they could have gone to that were just as fresh as Baker, but instead they chose to go his direction, and obviously we see the results there. Looks like Mike Trout might have just hit another home run. Nope, Ward did. Okay. 9-2. When will be the first Yankees trade? I think we're probably going to be looking at least another week here on that one. The reason being is because I think they're going to have to figure out what their pitching option is that they're going to go for. Do they want to go for a rental option that's a little cheaper, or do they want somebody with some control? Remember the article that we mentioned yesterday anyway about John Paul Morosi saying Joe Ryan was getting interest anyway from teams like the Boston Red Sox, but cited that there were other teams interested and talking actively about Joe Ryan as well. I would not be surprised if one of those teams was the Chicago Cubs, the New York Mets, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Toronto Blue Jays, or the New York Knicks. So when will the first trade for the Yankees be? I'd say probably after the All-Star break and probably a week or two, probably a week after that. I think we're going to be really close to the deadline when the Yankees finally do make their acquisition of a third baseman, of a starting pitcher, of some bullpen help. I think that's kind of how I see the deadline going for the Yankees, is that they're they're going to take their time and figure out what their options are, what the prices are on the market, and then pounce well in advance of the deadline here. So that's kind of what I'm looking for as we get closer to the All-Star break. A lot of trade talks going to be coming out of that All-Star break, so be sure to join us. Got 3 videos coming out for you guys tomorrow, so be sure to join us. Hit that subscribe and watch those videos when you can. We gained, I believe, 6 subscribers yesterday, so that was a heck of a climb for us since we're just getting back into this. Been doing lives for about 3 weeks now with this channel, getting back into the swing of things. I know you guys really enjoyed our off-season coverage as we were every single day going through all the transactions of the day, all the rumors, leading you all the way up to spring training. And we're gonna keep on doing that through the trade deadline this year. Cooper Flagg got his debut with the Dallas Mavericks on the NBA side of things. The Stars that in the NHL made a trade anyway, shipping off a contract in Matt Dumba and a second-round pick for a lower-level piece defenseman back. And NFL training camps are about a month away. So football is not too far away. Trade deadline is 3 weeks away. Lots going on in the world of sports. So. Whatever your fancy is, whatever your favorite sport, there's tons going on all the time. We do appreciate you joining us. The Cooper Flagg versus the Los Angeles Lakers and Bronny James game was actually pretty interesting. James looks a lot better defensively. Maybe it was just the intensity of the game itself that kind of brought it out of him, but he certainly looked a lot better defensively than he did at any time last year for the Lakers. All right, let's get into some more trade talk, though. It's trade deadline season. I want to talk some trades. We talked about Merrill Kelly a minute ago. To the Cardinals. We've done a trade like this before, but let's kind of revisit the idea and just kind of see what it would cost for the Cardinals to bring him in. Kelly's got 4.6 here, so he's got 2.9 left on his salary, so even if you included salary, you'd probably only be able to get a 7 value player. So keep that in mind. What could you get for around 6 or 7 on the high end? You're not going to give up some of these younger players here, I don't think. Fernandez in the bullpen could be an interesting one. I still think Graceffo is the most likely in this deal. Gives them an arm that can immediately go and help them right now on the major league side of things. Then you get to around this price point here. Say you go for a young starting pitcher here and a young outfielder. I think this would be a trade that the Cardinals would say yes to. I think this is a trade the Diamondbacks would say yes to. Validate it. It's a minor overpay, yes, but when you're talking about the prices of pitching at the deadline, there's always a little bit of an overpay. Hear me out. Josh Smith to Houston to play left field for Dubon, Ryan Gusto, and a prospect. No. He's the only hitter for the Rangers that's hitting over 260, I believe, right now. I'm not trading him away. I think Corey Seager might finally be getting close to that mark as well, maybe a little bit over, but I'm not trading Josh Smith. He's too invaluable to the Rangers as far as his defensive versatility. Literally play him all over the diamond for injuries or poor performance from other players, and he's been very consistent. The one thing the Rangers lineup has not been this year is consistent, and he's the one guy who has been this year. Sarah, less than 2 weeks away from NFL training. Okay, we are getting close to NFL season, aren't we? Newspeak, welcome in. Hello, everyone. Just found your channel. Appreciate you joining us. For those of you guys who are new, be sure to hit that thumbs up at the bottom of the video. Hit that subscribe button. The bell will notify you whenever we do go live. We'll be live every single night, keeping you guys updated on all the latest from the MLB trade deadline. The Yankees do need a third baseman. We made a video yesterday about DJ LeMahieu getting DFA'd and the Yankees eating the $22 million remaining on his contract. Both are through the end of next year anyway. And they wanted to kind of clear a roster spot more than anything else. There was a meeting between LeMahieu, Boone, and Cashman to kind of figure things out. And ultimately, they were not able to get a role for LeMahieu on their rosters. They designated for him assignment, and he is now officially a free agent as of today. That means they're still going to be scouring the market for a third baseman. Suarez seems to be the guy that everybody's pinpointing as the designated guy to go and fill that hole at third base for the Yankees. I do agree with them. That's how I think it's ultimately going to play out. But don't be surprised if a team like the Rangers jumps in there for Suarez. They've been looking for power basically since the offseason. The guys they brought in haven't really brought the power yet. And Suarez has had, 29 home runs this year. One of the few bats that's available that's actually hitting the ball out of the ballpark. And we could see some interesting teams go after him in that regard. Other names, as far as the third baseman, Ryan McMahon's been connected, Nolan Arenado. There's several options out there that kind of fit the bill here, but which direction do the Yankees go? Do they want somebody long term? Do they want somebody that is off the books at the end of the year? Nobody really knows. I think that for the Yankees, they want to try to preserve their tax bill as much as possible. So wherever they go to kind of solve that issue, I think they're going to be looking to get as much savings as they can on that type of a deal. Whether it be the other team, eating some salary, or whatever the move has to happen for them at third base. But I think they're going to try to do what's best for them financially, but also still solving a hole at third base. So they might not pay a premium for a significant major mover like a Josh Donaldson in his prime to the Toronto Blue Jays type trade. I don't think we'll see that. For instance, Alex Bregman could be the one name that's moved at the deadline, along with Austin Riley. I don't think either one of those guys ends up in New York, but those would be kind of the aircraft carrier changing, lineup changing moves that the Yankees could go for. I think they'll ultimately go for kind of a half measure, or at least a lesser option than Austin Riley or one of the others that I mentioned, and kind of solve their issues with as far as third base anyway, by bringing in Suarez type player, an Arenado type player, a lower cost option at third base, Willie Castro, who could play a little bit of third, other options as well. Let's go ahead and do another trade. Let us know in the comments section your team that you want to see a trade for. We did a 4-hour long live last night, did a whole bunch of trades. I really would encourage you guys to check that one out. You guys were very interactive with us last night, so I want to thank you guys for making it so much fun doing a live. Honestly, I've been doing this now for 4 years, it feels like, 3.5, 4 years, somewhere in there, for this channel anyway. So that was one of the most fun nights I've had in a while doing a live with you guys. So I just want to thank you guys for making it so much fun last night. Really do appreciate that. Thank you for the likes, though. We got 18, 20 people in here right now, so be sure to hit that like on the video. That way we get more people in here and have more fun in that chat as well. Let's go ahead and do another trade, though. We talked a little bit about Joe Ryan. Let's just say the Yankees are the team that wants to go after him at the deadline. They say pitching is what we need to go after. What can we do to get some elite starting pitching in here? He would be a type of move that would make them a great 1, 2, 3 in a playoff rotation. So the Yankees go after Joe Ryan. Goes to the Yankees, and his salary is low enough to where it doesn't necessarily affect the salary table here for the Yanks too much. So the Yanks, what would they have to include? All right. Remember, they're trying to win this year, so they're not trying to trade away too many of their valuable assets. I think Lombard would probably be the most likely centerpiece. It'd be hard to keep out Spencer Jones with this deal because I think he'd be an invaluable piece as well. I think Schlitter, being the piece going back to the Twins, taking over a spot in that rotation, would be a nice get for them. So just putting those two in there, we're 20-ish away from value here. So if you included a Jones, I think it's probably a little too rich for most Yankees fans. Say they went... They're always looking for catching, but they got so much good young catching coming for the Twins, guys that they want to give a chance at the major league level. Would they go for another guy in Flores? I don't think so. Ben Rice could make some sense. Free up a roster spot as well. I don't think they necessarily need to free up one, but could be an option. Let's say they go Cunningham, get another starting pitcher back. Now you're 11 away. I think if you go for like a Hess and Rodriguez Cruz. Maybe that could get it done. I think it'd put you in the ballpark. And if the Twins ate, I don't know, say $3 million, save the Yankees all kinds of tax money, and because they're eating a little bit of the money, Twins could afford that. That's 5 pieces, though. You're not trading Dominguez. Ben Rice does make a lot of sense, but I don't think they would do it. I think that would probably be pretty close to the trade that would have to be made. So there's your Joe Ryan to the Yankees. For Lombard, Hess, Cunningham, Schlitter, and Rodriguez Cruz. I think they'd rather go a little bit more consolidated with that if they could, but they don't really have the pieces to do that. So that could be a trade to the Yankees. Do I think this would be likely? I don't think so. I think for the Yankees, I think they would think I would believe they're giving up too many prospects internally. I think they would try to consolidate those a little bit and go after a lesser target that doesn't cost them quite as much prospect capital. Hear me out. Mason Molina to the Astros and the Rangers get Brendan Walter as their starter behind Leiter. They don't really need another starter in that regard for the Rangers. They've got guys coming. Remember, Molly's going to be back at the Major League level right after the All-Star break. John Gray, right now, if, say, Patrick Corbin got injured right now, he could easily come up and finish his rehab assignment on the Major League roster. We've seen the Rangers do that with Eovaldi in years, even this season. And I think he could probably be the starter, and then Jake Latz kind of piggybacks with him on days he starts until he's fully back. But I don't think they're going to be trading for another starter. Right now, their starting rotation is DeGrom, Eovaldi. Then you have Corbin, Leiter, and Rocker currently in there. But you're getting Gray back. You're getting Molly back. You have other depth options in the minors that you can turn to. But I think their rotation is fine. If they wanted a three-headed monster going into the postseason, we made a trade yesterday that brought the Rangers Joe Ryan. I think that would be an interesting possibility at the deadline. In fact, I want to do a trade for Joe Ryan to the Rangers without including Wyatt Langford. Let's go ahead and see what it would cost. So again, I think the trade pretty much has to start. Joe Ryan, Correa's money coming off the books. But remember, you're trying to maximize value on Joe Ryan. You're not going to want to see the decreased return because of Carlos Correa. You're still going to want to get a pretty penny in return. So the Rangers, instead of giving up Wyatt, say they give up Jock Peterson in this deal. Actually, no. Let's go back to the Twins first. Almost forgot. Duran is going to come in this deal as well. So we're at 49 and change. Look at Correa's value. They've corrected that since yesterday as well. It was negative 60 yesterday. It's down to negative 38 today. So his value is going up. Keep that in mind. So could we even get there now with the changes? Let's see if they changed anything on the Rangers side of things. Honestly, not too much. Everybody's still pretty much in the same slots here. Just small changes. Corey Seager's now on the positive side of things at 13.7. Young's value dropped a little bit. So I don't think they could do it now after the adjustment of Carlos Correa's value. It just doesn't come down quite enough. As an Astros and Rangers fan, I also would like it when my teams help each other out unintentionally, so can't blame me. I hear you. I don't. That's why I kind of my two favorite teams. In case you guys didn't already know, I've tried to tell you guys this. Rangers for me are my number one team. Twins have always been my number two. The Braves have always been my number three. Some combination after that includes the Cubs, the Astros, the Boston Red Sox for a variety of different reasons. But those would kind of be my next clubs. Let's check in on some scores here real quick. Looks like the Angels tacked on another one here. A's have tied it in the 8th inning anyway. They've gone to the 9th, tied at 4. Diamondbacks trailing 4-2 in the 6th now against the Padres. Miller on trying to close the door against the Braves there. We'll be live again tomorrow night. We'll be live around 9 o'clock, so be sure to join us for that one. We did a 4-hour-long live yesterday. We'll probably do a short one today to kind of get my energy back a little bit and post some videos tomorrow to kind of get you guys ready for our long live tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll probably do a little bit longer one. In fact, on the calendar, the late games tomorrow night that we were eyeballing to kind of watch together with you guys were the Phillies and Padres or the Dodgers and Giants. I'm leaning Dodgers-Giants. And then on Saturday, we have 2 games that we were thinking about doing for you guys. In the 6:30 time slot, the Rangers versus the Astros. In the 9 o'clock hour, we were thinking Toronto and the A's. I think we might do both of those games on Saturday. Try to do a bunch of trade talk tomorrow night. Saturday we'll do kind of the 2 games for sure. Houston and Texas definitely, and then maybe some trade talk during the Toronto A's game in the nightcap. I think that's what we'll do. And then again on Sunday, after all the games are over, we will have our live in the evening, kind of recapping the day's games. We'll also go through the MLB trade deadline. We'll go through our power rankings for the first half as we enter in the All-Star break, how teams stack up, and get into the MLB draft as well. And as far as the games that day, there's a 1 o'clock Rangers in Houston. There's a 12:30 Cubs and Yankees. That could be interesting. And then there's the 3 o'clock Dodgers and Giants. There is no Sunday night baseball this week due to the MLB draft. That'll be aired on ESPN and MLB Network. We'll be watching along as we're kind of going through some trades and going through the power rankings, recapping everything from the first half, and going through all the newest trade rumors. That'll kind of be the kickoff of trade deadline season in full force there. All-Star break is a really good place for a lot of GMs to kind of get with their people without having to focus on games being played and figure out what's going to happen with their roster going forward. Where do they need to add? Where do they need to subtract? What do they have excess of that they can trade at the deadline? Those kinds of things. What kind of money is their owner wanting them to worry about? Those as well. I just thought this about Marcus Semien to the Angels for Kyron Paris, and I would be cool with this because Marcus might be going down soon talent-wise next season, so I would rather trade him now. Yes, but he's the vocal leader. He's the, not necessarily the biggest vocal leader, but he's the do-it-by-example type of leader for the Rangers. He's literally the captain of the team. You aren't trading him away right now. You're not going to trade him away in the offseason either. I'm not saying it wouldn't be a smart business decision or a smart baseball decision in the long run, but I think for the time being right now, the Rangers are trying to win, and I think trading away Marcus Semien only makes it harder for you to win going forward. Yes, Semien was absolutely terrible for the first 2 months of the season. We've seen him get off to really slow starts before. But if you look at his numbers now, he's right along those league averages right now, and he's playing very, very good baseball. Let's kind of look at the game day real quick and just see what's happening in this game. In the 7th, looks like Seager's been pulled from this one. Duran taking over. Semien is 3 for 4. His average around 238, 237 right now. In case you guys are wondering what is considered a productive major leaguer, a solid everyday major leaguer right now as far as batting average, I was surprised when I looked up the number anyway. It's around 240. If you hit 240, you're right around league average. That's pitiful compared to what we all grew up with. We're used to seeing guys hitting the 320s, 330s with regularity. back in the late 90s. Of course, the different era, steroid era, blah, blah, blah. I get all of those conversations, but that's what we grew up with. There was the reason we had the Summer of Love in 98 with McGuire and Sosa and the home run ball. Was it for the right reasons? Of course not. Steroids, blah, blah, blah. But again, past history. But when you look at the game today, a 240 average, that's nothing. I mean, just put the ball in play a couple of times a game. One of those times is going to be a base hit. Work the count. Get on base, a walk. The pitchers are better, absolutely. But I think the talent gap between Double-A and the majors right now for hitting is just so much different. It takes so much more time to get acclimated to the big league level, because if you're any kind of a decent pitcher right now, teams are plucking you out of the minors and bringing you up to the majors fairly quickly. That's why you don't see really good pitchers at the AAA level anymore. So the development that they would get at AAA is nowhere near what it needs to be productive whenever they get to the big leagues. But still, 240, that seems very paltry compared to what I believe it should be. I think you're talking 250, 260 as a decent year, talking 280 as a good year. 300 nowadays would be a great year. But we've only got 9 qualified hitters right now hitting above 300. Tells you where batting average and those kinds of numbers have really gone by the wayside. And honestly, I think it's to the detriment of the league. I think it's better when you see activity on the base paths, choke up on the bat with 2 strikes, move the runner over, productive outs, not just the 3 true outcome conversations. I think that makes the game a lot more exciting to the fans. So, we'll see if teams start to address this. I think we're seeing a lot of kind of the old mindset of the game coming back in, with Brett Boone being brought in for the Texas Rangers as their hitting coach, Edgar Martinez for the Seattle Mariners as their hitting coordinator, hitting coach anyway. Kind of bringing an old school mentality. Hey, you may not have all the talent in the world, but you can certainly hit for the situation that you're in. You can lay a bunt down. You can hit it over the right side and get the runner over to third with 1 out. You can hit a ball in the air into the outfield with less than 2 outs to drive home the run. There's ways that even if you don't get on base, you can still make the game move along. You can work the count and get a walk instead of swinging at the first pitch that looks anywhere near the strike zone. Instead of waiting for your pitch, everybody swings at anything they think that they can get an A swing off on. How about we just put the ball in play and play the game of baseball? So let's not lose that. And as far as Marcus Semien goes, his numbers are getting better. I think he'll probably finish the season around the 250 range when it's all said and done. 260 might be a little tough to get to after how poor of a start he had, but I think 250 is relatively reasonable as well. That to keep in mind, almost nobody bunts. Absolutely, nobody really does. We see occasional bunts from the Rangers. They get a couple of speedy guys who can lay it down. Every now and again, you'll see a speedster or a guy that's being shifted over quite a bit that might lay down a bunt. But now that they've outlawed the overshift, where you can't put 3 guys on the infield in the dirt anyway, you basically have to have 2 guys on each side. The shift doesn't have nearly the effect that it once did, but it's still there in the game for players who want to take advantage of players playing 30, 40, 50 feet off the line. So, strike out there. We go to the bottom of the 7th. We'll see if the Rangers continue with Jacob Latz, I believe, was still on the mound after Corbin got them through 5. Check on the rest of the scores real quick. Still tied at 4, Braves and A's. 4-2 still, Padres and Diamondbacks. Rangers 9, A's 3. Appreciate you guys joining us. We'll be live again tomorrow night. We'll have a little bit longer of a live. We'll get into a lot more trade discussion tomorrow. But we'll have the return of Alex Bregman to talk about, the debut of Bryce Matthews. Hopefully he'll be in the lineup, but we shall see. And we'll update you guys on some of the injury news from around Major League Baseball. And then, of course, we'll get into all the trade talk that I know you guys are absolutely anxious for. The Yankees and their news of designated DJ LeMahieu. Do they make the move before the All-Star break? Do they make it during the All-Star break? MLB draft, who goes number 1? Power rankings coming out this weekend. Who ultimately is going to come out on top after a chaotic first half? I think is a good way to put it. Everything that went on in Toronto, the injury to Garrett Cole for the Yankees, and then everybody expecting them to go poorly, and then figuring things out, and then them going on a long losing streak, and now they're still in the wild card race. Those are kind of some interesting things we'll get into during our power rankings show. Heal, one thing. What is it, my friend? What is it? Just want to check on the NL side of things. Dodgers, Cubs, Phillies still the division leaders. Brewers, Mets, and Giants have now leapfrogged into that final wild card spot. Padres have struggled as of late. But the Giants, the acquisition of Rafi Devers, not exactly paying dividends yet, but I think it will in the long run. Now, as far as him playing first base, Will Clark, you guys might remember him as the Giants, kind of a culture guy there for the Giants anyway, first baseman for years and years. Really respected the guy when he played for the Texas Rangers. Really thought he kind of elevated first base as the position anyway, before and after, when Rafi Palmeiro was there before and after. But he was the guy kind of in the middle there. He was a great Ranger. I remember him from the Giants as well. But he was scheduled to work out with Rafi Devers 3 different times after that trade, and he never showed up once. So tells me we're having kind of the same old Rafi Devers issues now with San Francisco Giants that we did in Boston. And maybe that's just Rafi being Rafi. He's got his money, so he's just going to do whatever he does. And everybody else is just going to have to figure out how to work around him is the best way as well. Can you do a trade where Bregman goes to the Rangers with Josh Young as the centerpiece going to Boston? I don't think Josh Young would be the centerpiece going to Boston, honestly. I think the Rangers could do a Bregman trade, yes, but I don't think Young would be the piece that would necessarily go back the other way. But we can go ahead and do it. I think Young is kind of a culture guy for the Rangers. I think they would prefer to move other pieces. But let's say the Red Sox go into a swoon and suddenly Bregman becomes available. His value's around 3, so they updated his value. Got 11 million left on that deal. Rangers can only take back 3, so the Red Sox are going to have to eat at least 8 of this contract. So that means the value coming from the Rangers has to be at least 11. So say Josh Young is the centerpiece, which honestly I think could happen, but I think their preference would be to do something different. So there you go. They're looking for pitching. Santos could be the guy there. Again, another injured guy about to come back. So basically you get 3 years of Young. You get the full entirety of Winston Santos, who was good at Double A last year. Validate the trade and post it. Now I think the Rangers would still try to get Aroldis Chapman out of Boston if they were selling at the deadline. Do I think that the Red Sox will sell at the deadline? I don't. I think at this point their win streak that we all anticipated before the All-Star break has happened, and I think that this team is getting stronger now with Bregman coming back, that even if they don't get a long-term extension done, and he even declines his player option and goes into free agency, I think there's a very good case to be made for them to hold on to Bregman in a very competitive yet winnable American League. But that'd be kind of the trade you could see. Now, maybe the Red Sox would want a couple of smaller pieces, or maybe they don't want Josh Young. Then you kind of mix and match the pieces there. But I think Josh Young probably ends the season with the Rangers one way or the other, and just a matter of whether or not he's getting full playing time over there at third, or if they're platooning him, or if his bat's down in the minor leagues, or whatever the case may be. I think Young's going to be with the Rangers the entirety of the season. I don't see even an acquisition of Bregman moving him out of town. All right, let's check X just to make sure nothing else is happening. Lee Elliott passed away. That sucks. Ozzy Albies the home run. Mick Abel threw 6 scoreless tonight for the Phillies. I did see this right before we came on the air from John Paul Morosi and MLB Network. Of these 5 guys, who could be on a different team next year? Sandy Alcantara, Edward Cabrera, Zach Gallen, Mitch Keller, and Seth Lugo. If I had to guess, I think there's going to be a team that way overpays for Alcantara and they get him moved. Cabrera, I think, easily gets moved at the deadline. Gallen, I think he's probably more likely than not to be moved. with that ERA, and he's pitching a little bit better in his last couple of starts. Keller, I think, currently stays. I don't think they pry him out of Pittsburgh, at least during the season. In the offseason, come back to me. And then Seth Lugo, I think if the Royals go on a little bit of a swoon after the All-Star break, I think he could be the quickest of those guys to be moved. Bregman at third for the Rangers would be deadly, especially behind Seager. I absolutely agree. I think he'd be the perfect third baseman for the Rangers going forward. Even over a Josh Young, who I thought could have been an aircraft carrier when he was drafted by the Rangers and originally came up. I think we all did, but he really hasn't lived up to it yet. And the anxiety he's having at the plate, the anxiousness, the overcommitting, the poor plate discipline, all bad habits that have really crawled into his game, and that's why he's in the minor leagues right now. He's still working on them, hasn't solved those issues yet. It's going to take some time, so don't expect him to be back, the first day he's eligible. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to spend the All-Star break down there in the minor leagues, and probably a week after that. And then we'll see where the offense is, we'll see where his head's at, and see if it's the right time to bring him up, or if there's a trade to be made like an Alex Bregman. Alrighty. Appreciate you guys joining us this evening. Be sure to hit that thumbs up at the bottom of the video. It goes a long way to helping us out. Thank you guys so much for all the interaction in the chat today. We'll be back live tomorrow around 9 o'clock. So be sure to send us your comments, what trades you'd like us to see, and try to do here for you guys on our live tomorrow night. And then on Saturday, we'll have some live games for you guys as we go through some trade talk. We'll kind of follow along on these games and just have some fun talking some baseball, watching a baseball game together, and just enjoying a nice, peaceful Saturday night. But thank you guys for joining us. Be sure to join us on Sunday after all the games are over. We'll have the MLB draft to talk about. We'll talk about the first half power rankings, how they kind of come to a close. And again, we'll talk a little bit about MLB trade deadline as well. Send us your trade ideas, and we'll get into all of those as well. Good night, everybody. Stay safe, everyone, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow night.